Hello, my name is Kate and welcome to my kitchen. Today's recipe is one of those that you do when you don't have any time and you want to do something that looks quite spectacular, but you don't want to have any effort. And it is dead easy. It really is. I didn't want to even do this until I realized, well, Carrie asked me to, so there you are. And thanks for the rosemary. There we go. Would you wash this off? Okay, so chicken is super easy, but it's all about technique. So here you have the oven can be anywhere from 425 to 375 to 350 to 325. Obviously, the lower the temperature, the longer it takes. I kind of just like it at 400. It's easy, it's quick. And it all depends on how big your chicken is. Chickens seem to be getting larger these days. And this particular chicken, you see here, is probably 5.5 pounds, which is, for me, that's big. I kind of like them around 3.5 to 4 pounds, but I couldn't find anything that was any smaller, which is fine. It's fine. I had this in the freezer. I just found it on sale. I had it in the freezer. I froze it in its own package, and it takes days to defrost a chicken. It really does. But I put it in today. I put it in salted water and brined it for a little bit. I didn't include that in the recipe, but it certainly helps. So took it out of the brine and patted it dry. I have, now inside you're going to find lovely things like liver, and if you're lucky, you're going to get a heart and gizzards, but this one doesn't have a heart in it. And you got it pretty much. What you're doing is making sure that the skin on the outside is dry. I have a pan. I'm using a 12-inch skillet, and I'm going to get the bed for the chicken ready, which involves a bed of big chunks of onion and, oops, on the floor. Big chunks of onion. I didn't even bother with the carrots. I didn't even bother. I washed them, but I'm not peeling them because it doesn't matter. And got big chunks of carrots. If you want, you can put in here, parsnips, turnips, rutabagas, squash, but they have to be in kind of big chunks because otherwise they'll burn and they'll disintegrate, and it's going to be in the oven for an hour and a half. At least an hour, 15 minutes, an hour and a half, and these will completely disintegrate if they're in little chunks. I have carrot. If I wanted to, I could just use the baby potatoes, the little ones, and throw those in. You don't have to put potatoes in. Potatoes are if you want this to be a complete meal. So potatoes, put them in quarters. There you go. I'm going to do 3 potatoes in quarters, 3 or 4 if you're doing a for 4 people. 3 or 4 potatoes will be fine. You want to put a little bit of olive oil on it and toss it around and set that aside. Then you're going to attack the chicken. And here's your chicken, full, you know, you've made sure that the chicken is well dried. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry, but it's well dried. I've got another quarter of an onion here. Another onion, lemon that I'm going to put into quarters, and a whole head of garlic. I'm not peeling it or anything, just cut that in half. Half of it is going to go around the chicken, and the other half is going inside. So you got that all set. And a few herbs. Now I have rosemary, which my sister just picked for me. Thank goodness. You can do oregano or thyme, fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh herbs, what do you use? Herbs de Provence, which is always good. It's always a good thing. So what you're going to do is take the chicken, set it upright. Now, if you look at your chicken, there's a little bit of salt and pepper on the side here. There's a backbone that goes right here, okay? And if you want to butterfly this chicken or spatchcock the chicken, you just cut right along that edge, and it will come, and then lay it flat and flatten it. It will flatten out. I'll tell you why I'm telling you that in a minute. But for now, it is time for salt in the middle and pepper. And I'm going to throw in some herbs de Provence because I didn't pick the thyme. I'm going to throw in lemon, onions. Now you're not going to get a whole lot in here. Half of a garlic. Just toss it in there. More lemon, more onion. Okay. Now I'm going to take the wings. Do you see that wings are all flappy out here? And we're going to tuck them underneath. I don't have a rack for this chicken. I don't need one. So I've got it tucked under, and it will sit upright like this. The next thing I'm going to do, you don't want to have the lying around. It just doesn't look good, and it doesn't work very well. But here we go. We're just tying them together with kitchen twine.
So what if you don't have kitchen twine? What's an alternative?
Shoelace. Diana says a shoelace.
I'm kidding. Floss.
Dental floss, dental floss,
Non-waxed and non-mint.
non-waxed, non-mint, but dental floss will do it.
You can also use rubber bands, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, rubber bands would do it too. Okay, now I haven't done anything to the outside, and I'm going to put this into here like this, sort of. The vegetables are providing a rack for this chicken to roast on, and the vegetables are going to be quite lovely at the end. And I've got the half of the garlic bulb that I'm just going to throw in around it. You're not going to worry about the peel of the garlic. It's no big deal. Now, at this point, you can either baste this with butter, which is lovely. You're going to, now, you can put stuff under the skin. I'm going to take a couple of these, lift the skin up like this and stick fresh herbs under the skin. A little bit of that. You don't have to do that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to, but I'm telling you, that's one thing you could do. You want to put any herbs that are left over around the outside. I'm going to use Montreal chicken seasoning, but you can put anything else that you might want on. The reason why I'm doing this over the top of the potatoes and vegetables is that anything that slides off or anything that gets shaken onto that goes right into that. Let's see. I'll throw in some salt on it, some pepper. This is a piece of fat that I took off of it. I'm going to stick that under the skin too, because I can. And the crowning glory is either butter, or I'm doing olive oil because I like olive oil. So there you have it. Now, around the chicken, you can also put lemon. If you've got a piece of lemon left over, you can roast lemon. I think that and oregano make a really nice Greek chicken. There's any number of things you can do. You open up the fridge and you figure it out, or you go out in your garden and say, I've got these herbs, or I don't have these herbs, and all will work out well. I've got some, speaking of herbs, here's some parsley, and I'm going to stick that inside as well, because I can. Okay. And that's it. What you do, I would probably put, and I didn't include that in the recipe, and I'm going to have to figure out how to alter it a little. I'm going to put a little bit of either water, wine, or chicken stock. This is chicken stock into the bottom. Not much. Water will work just as well because it's going to evaporate and be part of the gravy, whatever the gravy is that you're going to use. So it's done. It goes into a 400-degree oven. You want to see, you want to set the alarm for 45 minutes to just check on it. Just check on it. And when I did the one that I'm going to show you, I checked on it at 45 minutes and I needed a little bit of liquid at the bottom. So I put in a half a cup, not much, of water, and it worked out pretty well. Let me show you. And of course, the neighbors are doing, yeah, whatever. And here's what it looks like. I just took it out of the oven. Now, it's not as brown as I would like, but I checked the temperature, it's 165. It's pretty brown. It looks mighty fine. And I'm going to show you what I do with it. First thing, take the chicken out. And I'm going to take all of the veggies out. These veggies are absolutely delicious. So I'm not throwing them away, I'm just taking them out.
Those look delicious, Kate.
They are really delicious. They're crusty and brown, and you can see how brown the potatoes are. They're going to be just mighty fine. Now, all of this stuff, this wonderful stuff here, is stuff that you want. You really want it. So I'm going to, it's interesting. Sometimes you have a lot of juice and sometimes you have none. But there you have, it's about a half a cup of the juice, and it's not very greasy. So I'm going to have to use a little bit of butter for this. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour in some chicken stock. And scrape it up. Now, this will go onto the stove, but you can see how really lovely this becomes. And you can put it in with all of the other which is quite nice. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is now, you can pour this over the top of your chicken as an au jus. It's really nice. You can put a little bit, I'd boil it up and put a little bit of wine in with it. Red or white. Red or white is going to be fine with it. So you can either do that or make gravy. The way I've made gravy in the past, and actually I can do it if you'd like, or should I make some gravy?
Sure.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
make some gravy.
All right.
I was gonna interject only that the best Greek cook I know used to make the au jus with vermouth only. I don't know why though, but it was really good. And rosemary, everything else that you did was exactly the same that she would do.
Definitely do it with vermouth. It tastes wonderful. And rosemary is great. You've got rosemary in the flavorings too. Hi, Mariana. I didn't see you.
Hi.
Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we're going to turn, now, if I didn't have an oven-proof pan or a stovetop pan, I would probably scrape this out and put it into a smaller skillet or a pan to make the gravy. But I might as well make it in here because I can. Why not? So I'm going to get, I'll make it with olive oil because it's either olive oil or butter. Some olive oil or butter. Now this is all of the goodies, the browned bits. Some flour. And we're just going to make a roux. In the pan. I make Thanksgiving turkey gravy this way too. Scraping up and cooking. Now you can brown that flour or not. It's up to you. You can either brown it or just make sure you cook it long enough to cook out the flour taste, which you're just toasting it a bit. And that's what I think I'm going to do. So here you go. And I've got both burners going, so there it is. And I'm going to pour in a little bit of wine and let the alcohol cook off. You can actually smell it. All of those lovely juices that I just poured off, there wasn't hardly any grease on it, so I didn't have to degrease it. Sometimes you find it a very fatty chicken. So, okay, now the alcohol is pretty much cooked off. I'm going to put in and you can see it's thickening up. Now it looks lumpy, don't worry. Do not worry. As soon as it comes up to a boil, it will be just fine. And besides, you've got little bits of onion in there, so it's automatically lumpy. You don't have to worry about, oh no, not at all. Having made thousands of gravies. Now, this is too thick for me. So I'm going to pour in a little bit of chicken stock. You could put in water for that matter, because you've got, it's very good. You could put in vegetable stock, anything you want. Now, if I were using red wine, this would be kind of a magenta color, but it's pretty much a gravy color right now. And I'm going to pour in the gravy. And I'm going to put it on a very low flame while I cut up the chicken. So here we go. Mr. Chicken, well, probably a hen, Ms. Chicken. And you've got all that lovely stuff inside. But here's how you cut up a chicken. See the legs? You're cutting down the side like this. And it cuts right off. And then you have the two pieces of the leg. Do the other side. It will come right off because it's perfectly done. Down, right through there. Now, you can cut off the wings. And I always include quite a bit of the breast, not quite a bit, but some of the breast. Oh, well, that one fell off, but you can get it off like this. This is right here. There is a kind of like knob, and I cut down from that like this. Whoops. Like this. And this is the wishbone. Get the wishbone off. Which is a nice piece of breast meat. And then you cut right along this ridge, right along the breast. You cut down until you reach the bone. You can feel it. Then you cut across like this. And there you have a lovely piece of boneless breast. On the other side, you do exactly the same thing. Cut down along here, cut across. And this lovely guy makes great soup. But now you have, and you can make this plate look wonderful. And here's the other. Now you can probably cut these into two pieces if you wanted, the breast pieces, but you've already got a piece of breast meat right here that is the wishbone. And get the wings. Now all of this juice that's in the bottom, there is juice there. You can either just leave it there because it's okay, it's on the, or I usually just take this like that and dump it in, a little bit of it in. You've got, and then you decorate it with parsley. So you have your veggies and your chicken. It's dead easy. And this will serve, depending on how much vegetables you have, it can serve anywhere from 6 to 8 people. It's really good. And, you know, like I will often have green beans with it, or tonight I'm making Brussels sprouts. We've got that, you know, as a green vegetable, or salad. It's really easy. It's really fine. Now, just supposing, you do not have an hour and a half plus resting time. You don't have 2 hours to do it. What do? Well, you cut down that backbone when it's raw on both sides of the backbone, put it in the pan on top of the vegetables, and it will cook in 45 minutes to an hour. It's just that if you're roasting a whole chicken like that, there's one more step, and you can, it's called spatchcocking, and you don't turn it, you don't do anything, you put it on the vegetables, it's done. And you know, you probably, from the time you put it in the oven until you let it rest, you have to let it rest for 20 minutes. You let it rest, it will be done. It will be done in an hour and 15 minutes total. So it all depends on how much time you have, and whether you want to, you know, whether you want to spend 2 hours. That 2 hours is totally hands off. It's completely hands off. So if you get home from school and it's 4 o'clock, you stick it in there and you go about doing your business, whatever it is, like getting the house ready. You can serve a very shishi gourmet looking meal like this one by 6:37. No big deal. And if you have less time than that, you would, of course, spatchcock it, make it flat. You can just take your hand, go and make it flat. Semi-flat even is fine, and you're all set. And it's, like I said, it's really easy and really fine. You can season it differently. You can do different things. You can bring it to the table uncarved and have people hack away at it if you don't feel comfortable cutting it up. It's just an easy, quite wonderful meal. So anybody have anything to say to me?
I do. Hang on,
Yeah.
let me get us back into gallery view here. Okay, so 2 things, and I can't remember the first one, but the second one was, oh no, the first one was all the stuff that you had shoved inside it, you just pulled that out once it came out of the oven.
I didn't pull it out at all. It's still in there.
Oh,
It's still in there. I will probably pull it out and put it with the vegetables.
okay.
I mean, you know, that's why I'll probably pull it out, but you don't have to pull it out.
Okay.
You can just throw it in the soup pot.
And then you mentioned in the recipe, and you also mentioned here, degreasing.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You take a spoon, sort of like this, and you degrease as much as you can.
Okay.
Now, because this was not a very fatty chicken,
Mhm.
I didn't have any. So I had to add the grease to the gravy to make the gravy. But the gravy is, you know, here, it's quite lovely. It's just fine. So yeah. Anything else? Anybody else do anything weird with this chicken recipe? I know.
I just put a naked chicken with stuff, onion inside in the convection oven. And it gets really crispy in the skin and moist in the meat.
Excellent.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Convection oven is great. Mine is an ancient oven, so I have not made it in the little oven, the toaster oven that is convection. So that would be kind of cool. Yeah.
You can toss a quartered apple in too, if you want that
yeah,
flavor.
In the winter, I use apple. I never put regular stuffing in. I don't.
No, I don't either.
I don't put it in turkey. So no, I don't do that. But
I do the same thing you do. You take that whole little hunk with the stuff still in it, and that's what you make the soup out of, because it still has the garlic, it still has the onion, it still has the apple, it has all the flavors in it.
Yeah, it's got herbs. I
Fill up
did
your
pick-
soup pot with water, put a lid on it, and you're done.
You're done.
Because you don't have to add any herbs or anything, because she's already added all the herbs. So
Yeah, I had oregano and thyme in the middle of the one that I did.
Okay.
The other one is in the oven and doing well. It's fine. And then the leftovers, I'm going to make probably chicken pot pie or tacos or chicken enchiladas or something like that. It's a lot of chicken, but when you get them on sale, I don't know what they're feeding chickens these days, and I don't want to know. But they're dead cheap, and you can serve a lot of people with one chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to get I probably am going to make some lentil soup with the leftover, with the carcasses. So you have that. It's a very inexpensive, and you just wait for them to go on sale for either 2 for $1 at Ralph's or 99 cents at Smart and Final. And and then throw them in the freezer. I took both of these chickens out of the freezer. They've been there for 2 months, and big sale. So there you have it. And like I said, I don't know what we're doing next week, but I'm open to suggestions.
Well, so I'm a big Top Chef fan. I watch a lot of Top Chef. And this season, they've been making like 14 different kinds of mole.
oh, I love mole.
I love mole, but I've never made it.
It takes all day to make mole.
Does it?
We all get together. We chop millions of the things that go in mole. The reason it tastes the way it does is because of all the stuff you put in it, and it takes
Makes sense.
all day.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
it's
then that
so
wouldn't be
worth
good.
it. Well, or you could get a starter. Like Trader Joe's has a starter.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel that comfortable being a cook of something that I've only had in restaurants.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
I
if
never order it in restaurants. It doesn't taste right. It just doesn't taste right. If you make it yourself, it's divine. It truly is the food of the gods. But it takes a lot of chopping of a lot of stuff.
Well, I think that what I'll do is I'll play around with that idea, but not for next week.
No.
I will
I had a thought
what
about the food that you're making,
come
Kate.
up with. So I'll see what else I can come up with.
Well, Susan had an idea. Go ahead.
You know, the 3 things you have to make for 20 people?
Yeah,
When I was in Italy, like last year doesn't count. So I always say last year, but it wasn't last year because last year doesn't count. Of my friend, we had a death amongst our friends, and she did a big pot of pasta primavera with all of the wonderful spring vegetables. And then on the side, she had bowls of chopped chicken and like the small little shrimps. And she
The
just
primavera.
had 3 different kinds of cheese. And when people would come by, they would take their primavera. If they wanted a veggie, then they were vegetarian.
sounds,
Because it's so easy if they're, if you're vegetarian, because who knows what anybody is when there's 20
I
people.
know.
And I thought, oh, that's something I want to tuck away in my head because it's so easy and so cheap.
That's another thing. Is good.
Yeah, it's really inexpensive. If you buy like a thing of bay shrimp, that's all it is, or get your chicken, chop it up, the white meat, chop it up, throw in the freezer, put it in the bowl with some herbs.
So I will let you all know soon what it is I'm going to be cooking. And I will see you all next week.
And have a wonderful Memorial Weekend, everybody.
Yay! 3-day weekend, 8 more days of school.
Is that it? 8 more days? I was
8
going to
more
ask
days.
you. We have everything is still Zoom at St. Monica. The graduation, everything is Zoom. And they
Wow.
have 50 kids spread out. They did it. He was very organized how he did it. There are 50 kids in the grade school and high school in all the different grades, so that the teachers could get used to human beings plus Zoom,
No.
and figure out how to do the whole thing. So we have a total of 50 kids on campus, total, which is just a few. Yeah.
Our graduation is at the Rose Bowl.
Yes, I know.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I was just,
That's an awful big venue. How many graduates do you have?
We only have 300 roughly. But everyone is only allowed 4 guests, and they're only facing like one side. So it's one section of families that are socially distanced in pods of 4.
excellent.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Plus they get to go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. And they get to graduate in person, which is super cool.
Yeah, they're graduating in person, being socially distanced and all of that good stuff.
Let me know when you're done. We can take the girls to the beach. That'd be fun.
Yes.
I don't know, something, anything. With,
Anything.
she's driving me crazy already.
Yeah.
She just, today was her
Isn't
last.
it's like nobody has any great ideas about what they want to do, just anything. Anything.
I'll see what was behind Mariana. Mariana, say something and show your painting.
Oh, you want to look at the painting?
Yeah.
Well, you can look at what I'm working on today, but this is the place where I teach and do all my Zoom. And this is like my Zoom backdrop for students. So I put up a shaped painting, and then it kind of matched the fabric that my husband hung up for me as my background. And then this is what I've been doing in the studio. I don't know how much you can see, but that's what I'm working on right now. I've been working on shaped things that are all based on Bargello textile patterns, like the Italian Bargello patterns. We're looking at weaving a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. I
So
did here for
great.
hours. I just turned in my grades yesterday afternoon. And I'm done. So I'm like, oh my God, I want to be in the studio so bad all day long. And that's it. But my daughter has to finish
Well,
training in her
I'm
last
really
time.
happy that you joined us. Thank you, Anna. That's
Yeah, I'm
so-
excited to see you
so-
tomorrow at the pool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great to see you.
yeah.
Is Joni going to the pool tomorrow too? Is she? Oh, she's off on. Huh.
I will, I'll call her.
Okay. Because I saw
All right.
Sylvia that's this morning, and I saw Louise and Carol, and I've gone 3 days, and I could run into all the old people except for Joni and you and Nancy, which you guys are there more than anybody. So I don't know how that happened, but